Weicker 40X before. Has anyone ever done a program like this anywhere else? No? Okay. Well, Aaron's given a pretty good understanding of what it is and what it entails, and it's really meant to be an accountability session for us all, to be working towards a common goal. And as a firm, we need to take more listings. That's how we're going to drive our business. So this is hopefully going to help us all do that. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to help me stay committed to my goals. I mean, we can all do a million business plans and write down what our expectations are for ourselves, but executing it is a totally different story. So the thought is that we'll all talk through our goals, figure out exactly how many of our 36 listings in the first quarter we each plan to take, or our goal is to take, and then how we're going to get them. Each week we'll come in and we'll talk a little bit about our goal for the past week, what it was, what prospecting activities we plan to do, share our successes with each other, and then if for some reason you weren't able to meet your prospecting goals, or you didn't have any listing appointments, or didn't get a listing agreement signed, why did that happen? Were there timing issues, and are there anything that we can do as a group to help each other for the next week to accomplish those things? So that's kind of the idea of this session and what we're looking to get out of it. So I put together a little sheet for you. The thought is that if we all pick 2, at most 3 prospecting methods that we can stick with over the quarter, it's going to build consistency. So 1, it'll help you with comfortability in scripts, and 2, it'll help you see some results. If you're prospecting the same thing week after week after week, eventually you're going to get yourself a listing appointment, and that's what this is all about, to generate activity for us. In years past, we've kind of talked about different ways to run 40X. We had one session where every week we would say, okay, what are your goals for this week, and what are you going to do to get them done? And one week we would talk about prospecting just listeds. One week we would do an open house. And so the thought behind this is, if we're doing the same thing and we're required to stick to it, we'll build some consistency over the 3 months that we're doing it. You don't want to prospect for sale by owners one week and then expire to next, and then forget about the for sale by owners you talked to the first week, and next thing you know, 6 weeks have gone by, and you worked so hard to make that first contact, and you haven't followed up with them, and they've sold their house or they listed with someone else. So I put down on this sheet what SMART goals are, and I'm sure you've heard of them before, but anytime you set a goal for yourself or as a group, it should be specific, it should be something that you can measure and track, and it should be realistic and attainable. So I put down what my goal is for this quarter as an example, and I thought we could all spend some time, bounce ideas off each other, maybe take 5 minutes or so to figure out what your goal is for this first quarter. And we are going to want you to be consistent with it and prospect the same thing, and you'll have until next week to really firm it up. So if you have some trial and error this week and find you like one thing over the other better, great. But as of next week, we're going to ask you to lock it in and make sure that your prospecting goal for the quarter. So if you all want to take a couple minutes and jot some notes down, and then we'll regroup and convene as a group. And the thought is we'll all write our goals on the board, and each week we'll come up and we'll talk about how much prospecting activity we were able to accomplish and what it resulted in, so that we can all see, okay, if you get your activities done, it ends up in good results. And then we can talk a little bit about how we plan to track it over the next quarter. So let me know if you have questions or need ideas.
Well, these are for listings.
Correct.
Is that per week or per quarter?
So this is the goal for the quarter.
Okay.
So for example, my goal for this first quarter is to take 4 listings. This is going to end by March 31st. As a group, as a firm, we need to take 36 to stay on target for the company's business plan and the company's objectives. So how many of those 36 listings do you think you're going to be able to take? And again, the whole point of a SMART goal is to be realistic. If you plan to work 40 hours a week, or if you plan to work 20 hours a week, can you make 200 phone calls in 20 hours? Maybe, maybe not. Can you make 200 phone calls in a 40-hour week? Maybe, maybe not. should you set your expectations be, okay, I wanna talk to 5 expireds a week, or I wanna call 50 expireds a week? It needs to be realistic. So if you don't know what that number is, talk to Aaron or I or Mary Ellen or the Pullmans or anyone else, Amy, that has some real estate experience to say, okay, that's something that you should be able to achieve in a 40-hour work week, or that should be something you should be able to achieve in a 20-hour work week.
And I think it's important that the listing goal, if you're saying I wanna get 4 listings in 3 months, and your activity to do that is to knock on 5 expireds a week, it ain't gonna happen. If that's your activity, right? So that's what Andrew's talking about, like bounce. So we'll do that as you put your goals up here today. We'll give you advice on, you know, are you doing enough to reach your goals? You need to adjust your goals, you need to adjust your activities, but you know, we'll be realistic about that.
I guess I just don't know what the conversions, you know, like when you talk about, 100 cold phone calls will result in 1 listing appointment, or, you know. But expireds, how many expireds do you have to contact in order to get a listing appointment?
Yeah, it does vary, but in theory, the numbers that are in my head is if you knocked on 25 expired doors and actually spoke to 25 people, you will get a listing. Now, how many does that mean you have to knock on to get 25 people there? Probably 50, 60, somewhere in that range. So something like that would
And
be.
if that's an average, you might really need to knock on 200 doors, and maybe the second set of 25, you get 3 listings out of it, but the first 75, you don't have anything. So it is about consistency, and it's a numbers game with all prospecting. The more people you talk to, the more people you're gonna be able to convince them that you're the right person to list their house.
And that will help too by doing this quarterly, we'll adjust. So if you see that Rick is doing old expired prospecting and Rick got 5 listings this quarter and he planned to get 1, well then maybe that's something we all should be doing, you know. But you'll see the activities, and it does matter on skill set a little bit. Like, let's all be real here. If we have to get on the phone and talk to an expired, I would bet on Nidra over anybody in this room, okay? Because the way she talks on the phone and everything, like her skill set is pretty high at doing that. So her numbers might be a little bit different than yours for doing the same activity. But the idea is that consistency, and you will know your numbers after 3 months. If I truly knocked on 25 doors a week. That's what I did. And I knocked on 25 doors every week. And hey, by the way, I got 2 listings out of that. Well, then you kind of know what your numbers are. Or, you know, I got 1 appointment, I didn't get a listing, then you know where your numbers are that way too. So just take a little bit of time to figure out.
And everyone works a little bit differently, but just something that, from my experience, that I know that I need is I can't just write down, okay, I'm gonna try to schedule 3 for sale by owners a week. It needs to be extremely specific, or I'm not gonna get it done. So on Monday, I'm going to make phone calls to for sale by owners until I have 3 appointments. And then I'm gonna have those appointments, and the day of the appointment, I'm gonna write a thank you note. And then every single Monday until they list with me or they list with someone else, I'm gonna follow up with for sale by owners. Mondays are for sale by owners. If it's not specific, if you don't have a plan for how you are gonna prospect them, you could be setting yourself up for failure. And a lot of times, having good conversations and some early wins and success, it gives me energy. It makes me wanna keep going. So go out and get something, get it going.